We're recording.
Yeah. You both yawn. That's a good start.
Yeah, you've got
That's your nerves.
Grandpa will be, don't forget you fed him up with...
Well, I've only got 60 minutes of tape, so...
I need a
before...
tissue there.
Oh, do you? All right. Well,
If you want, what about some specific things?
we can...
Like times and dates and this type of thing. I may have to double check them to make sure.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we're just gonna chat. We're gonna sort of gather up all the stories, and then we're
You
gonna...
say your age, sort of, when you were 10 or when you were...
Yeah, but I'm not sure of that exactly. I mean,
Well, it
all
doesn't...
I know is what the fire was in 1939 and 7th day of January or December.
Yeah.
Never forgot
That was
that
when
day.
the back kitchen burned, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Never was.
And you
rebuilt.
can tell all the things that were lost, because that tells how your mother really had such, like my mom was not organized like that. Murray's mom had things really going. Seeds that she kept from year to year.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She'd harvest the seeds off from one year, and instead of bugling out and buying them from the seed company next spring, she had them all there.
To save money, or
To
just to
save
get
money.
better seeds.
No, save money.
It was to save money, because don't forget we were born in the Depression.
Right.
I often wonder how my dad ever got
Well,
a
that's
diamond.
a lot of people.
How he ever got a
At least they
diamond
hung on
from
to
my
their
mom.
farms. A lot of people lost them.
Yeah.
In those days, it was a major.
That was back in after the crash of '29. You mean?
Yeah, don't forget that we were conceived before and born after.
Yeah.
When we were born into
put-
the...
Well, you were
Lovely.
born about 4 months, right? 4 months after the crash, because the crash
yeah.
was 29 October,
October, yeah.
right?
Right.
And so you were both born
We
in,
were
in
born
February.
in
Yeah, so you're
February.
right. Conceived before and born
Well,
after.
see, down Southcott, the crash came on the 29th, and he was born on the 30th of October.
Oh boy,
That's like,
they didn't know how
Yeah.
much trouble they were in
not really.
at
No.
that point.
And did they have the Times Advocate at that
Oh
time?
yeah, well, Uncle Mal got it. Well, I don't know how, but as he went there as a apprentice at 12 years of age, and he wasn't tall enough, so they put him on a box to set type.
Okay.
Imagine,
That's when he
12
got
years of
involved
age.
as a, yeah.
Now that was lead type, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
A fellow by Wickwire owned the place. Exeter Times Advocate.
And so, and I'm just kind of curious because setting lead type would actually give you lead poisoning, wouldn't it?
Wow.
Do you think he ever had it though?
Well, I don't think he ever had it,
No.
but he sure as heck was exposed to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he
okay.
lived how long? How old was he when he died?
Well, I'd have to check it
Yeah,
out. I
but
don't
yes,
know. Oh,
but
he was not a young person.
He wasn't a young man.
But don't
So-
forget when he bought it. Now, I'm guessing he'd be in his 30s.
Yeah.
And he bought it in what, 1922 or
But
23
he
or
had
something.
no
then-
education except
No, he never
he
got
learned
out
a
of
trade.
grade 6 or 7 education. He wrote the editorials.
Imagine.
But
And then-
Aunt Alma edited them.
And then he
She
married
was a school
Aunt
teacher.
Alma. You know who she was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Headley's sister.
And
Well,
she would edit them.
So someone with like Thomas is in grade 6 right now. So
Yeah.
Thomas was writing editorials, or
Yeah.
someone with Thomas's education was
Yeah.
writing editorials, and his wife, who was the school teacher, was editing them.
Yeah.
But
Why
you
did he
see,
buy them? Why did he buy it?
Well, he went through it, you see, and he wasn't, a young man with a lot of abilities and a personality.
Right.
And, well, he went from setting type to calling on the merchants in town and setting up their advertising.
Right.
Then he when Wickwire wanted to retire, well, and he looked around and see the best person to buy it, so was Uncle Mal's.
Oh, okay.
So that's when Aunt Alma started.
and
She was
then
already
she-
married to him at that point.
Oh yes, they were.
Yeah.
And that was Headley's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see.
Grandpa's sister.
And then she did the recipe, the women's part too, didn't she?
Mhm.
Later on.
So
No,
how
I
long,
think
how,
right from the start.
Already.
how long was he on the Times Advocate for then?
Oh.
Well, he was dead. He had died, and Robert was still running it then. The boys took over.
Right.
Well, and I don't know the exact date type thing, but Malv died, and Robert took it over, and they were doing quite well there.
Yeah.
Well, then Don went to Stratford to set up an independent newspaper,
Right.
and eventually that went bust. But Don was a very, very clever individual, but he wasn't a
He had no personality
no,
for
no
marketing,
personality type person.
marketing
He was-
himself or anything.
Yeah, that
Should
type
have
of
been
thing.
an accountant. Oops.
Or a writer for newspapers and all this type of thing.
Well,
Give
he-
him the material and let him write.
He became a writer for one of the politicians, the
Oh
Conservative.
yeah, well, Charlie McNaughton.
Oh yeah, and
Oh, okay.
he was an Exeter man, Charlie
Yeah,
McNaughton.
he went down the road. Charlie McNaughton was always with political speeches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then he came back to run it, to ran for Parliament later after that, and of course he was flattened.
Yeah, his personality didn't
Yeah.
come through.
Oh, he ran for Parliament?
After
Don-
Charlie gave a quit, he ran.
Don, who's your dad's age, yeah.
Yeah, he ran for Parliament but didn't make it. But I can see why he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No personality.
No
Yeah.
personality.
But then tell about Southcott Pines, how that got
Well, of course,
started.
Southcott Pines. Now this goes back to the war years. See, I was 16.
It was the Second World War.
In 1946.
Right.
Well, I just learned to drive a car, and the Southcott Pines was still owned then by the uncle of Mel Southcott, the brothers of his father.
Okay.
Now
I
you
don't
know
know
where
the-
Southcott Pines is, in Grand Bend, yeah.
And they owned it. And they were from Exeter originally. They came there and started Southcott grocery store.
Okay.
And then it came down to the next generation. And eventually that was sold. But that's what the father had. And then Mal went and advertised into the newspaper. Well, I'm not sure he was the oldest one or not, but I think he was the oldest one. And he went in there at the age of 12 working for Workfire. Well, then, the other two boys went to California. There's 5 boys.
What were their names?
I don't know at this point.
Oh, okay. Well then Jack, was he a brother and he stayed behind? Wasn't there a Jack in
Let's
the
see.
Pines?
Yeah, just a minute now. You had Melv, Orv, and Herb. Then
Oh.
Boy,
the two-
they sure knew how to name them, didn't they? Melf, Orb, and Herb.
Yeah, and the other 2 boys went to California.
Quiet.
So you see, that's, well, now how they got the Southcott Pines, that 200 acres down there, I'll never know. Of course, I suppose you could dig it out in the history, but of course
Yes,
that
you
was
could.
not part of our history. And, well then, the boys in California wanted to sell it. And they set it up in their state that if the brothers wanted it in Exeter, Ontario, they had first option to buy it.
I didn't know that.
So that, in the meantime, when we were, I'll never forget when we were 16, I was 16 years old. So Southcott Pines, which is along by the lake, and it was asphalt road or gravel road up so far, and there was a fence, and then you went down in here, another 80 rods, and then there was an opening in the lake. There was all sand dunes the rest of the place, opening in the lake. You went through on that, and then that's a great place for picnics and all kinds of things, because it's just opening between these 2 sand dunes. Excuse me. Then what eventually came of that was that was the center of Southcott Pines. They had 200 acres. And they ran the main road down there, and then they ran the rest of them kind of a horseshoe out from that, so everything was focused on going to that opening.
Oh, the opening. Yeah.
Yeah,
on the
that's
opening
a
areas.
private beach sort
Private
of.
beef type thing, you see. So that's the way they said when they got into developing, and that's the way it turned out. But anyway, we had a young people's union and went down there, and Doc, my brother, drove by our car, and I don't know how many cars were in there. There must have been 10, 12, 13 of them. And Glenn Fisher was the last one in. And we went swimming, and we played around and had a barbecue on the beach and all this type of thing, and we went to go home. Glenn Fisher couldn't find the keys. He lost the keys in sand.
Oh.
And he was the last one in. There's no road to get around him and get out of it. So how did we get out of there? So finally we decided, well, look, there's a lot of us young guys, we'll just push them out. So that's what we did. We pushed them out. And left his car on the side there locked up and all went home. Next day, he got somebody to drive him out there with another set of keys and went and got the car.
So we never found the first that you know
Never
of.
did find the first one, but that was quite a thing that night.
So that was 1946.
1946.
It's hard to believe that cars even had keys back then.
Oh, well,
Well, they always
long
had
before
keys.
that. Even back
Is that
in the
right?
20s, they had keys.
Yeah, yeah.
And that they were that hard to. Well, I guess you guys were young because I'm sure that somebody could have hotwired the car to get it going.
Oh, if
I'm
they
sure
wanted to, there's no doubt about
Didn't
that.
have a steering lock
I
or.
mean, the
No.
thing is, but the thing is, you're not going to hardwire it every time you want to use it. So to
Mm.
use the key, it's a lot more simpler for the people that own it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just to get it home.
Yeah.
You had to go all the way back to Exeter
So,
to get the second set of keys. But
Yeah.
no, well.
Yeah.
so that's basically.
So then you might tell how we were offered a plot there, a lot.
Well, in this area, well, then of course, Amber and I got married. Well, no, we're looking into 1953.
Right.
And by that time, all right, the Southcott's in California. Now, when we were there firstly, I don't know, I think it was got to be 1948, 49, 50. Yeah, 48, I think probably. And then they did had some experts come in and draft layout of the land that
Right.
they wanted to, and where the roads were going to go and all the rest of it.
Right.
Well, then they started selling the lots off, and they sold those along the lakefront down to the opening, and then there's another row behind, another and another. Well, along come out, and none of them wanted to be onto the lakeshore, open to the lakeshore. They all took the inside row because there was so much wind off the lake.
Right.
The Southcott, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off it. It was cool. Even on the hottest day of the year, it was cool there.
Right.
And you want to go to the cottage, you don't want to be hot type thing is. And when they built their cottages, as it was, now they were on the lakefront, but they were behind the sand dunes, not down at the opening here, so the sand, the wind then would come up and go over top, and then it dropped some sand down on it. So what they had then, they put, not their cottages, their patio out on the lakeside, so on the opposite side of the house, where it was warm. Sun came in warm. And that's where they had the barbecues and everything else. They wouldn't do it on the lakeside because it was just too cold.
Yeah.
So and Uncle Malv, he didn't even do that. He was on the other side of the road up here at the end. That's where his cottage was. Get
Long
away
ways
from the
lake.
No, it was like a block from the lake.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, nowadays the dynamic is reversed. I would expect people want to live on the.
Well, sure they do now, but it's still.
It's still cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
50 years
The
later.
weather hasn't changed, but
No.
I guess the
Hasn't
buildings have.
Well, then we went up every year, and I would always invite the family back to her place, and she had a they said, "Oh, Mal got a barbecue," and all the first cousins and everybody was always invited, and even some of the Southcott brothers, Herbs and Orbs and boys. But by this time they were growing up, and of course Amber and I got married, and Uncle Mal offered me a lot. You know, but he said, if
Do
you
you
want
remember how much money it was going?
$225 for a lot.
Oh God.
$225, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
Right away.
And he said, if you want a second one, I'll get you a second one too, if you want to. But we never took him up because we were in this little apartment, and we figured, well, God, we got to have a house first before we buy a cottage, and never did buy one.
And what were we paying for the apartment? 65 a month?
60 a month to start.
Yeah.
We rented one a month.
And that included everything. Absolutely.
There's only one bedroom in it.
Yes.
So you could have owned a lot in the Southcott Pines for 3 months rent, 4 months rent.
Yes, right.
4 months rent.
But our
At that time,
accountant here
because
hadn't quite
they
gotten
were-
working. Didn't
Yeah.
have us working.
They
legs, yeah.
see they didn't, they wanted to get them sold.
Right.
Because they had, well, all right, back up on that. They, at that time, the Southcott's brothers, estates down in California, got $65,000 for the 200 acres of lakefront lots there.
Right.
That's what they charged them for it. And there was 5 of them in it. There was
Right.
Uncle Malv, his brother Herb, his brother Orv, Sandy Elliott, and Bill Allison.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Allison actually was a cousin because Bill Allison's wife, and my Aunt Elma's, let's say, father, were brother and sisters. One generation back, and my grandfather was she.
And Bill Allison had a business in.
Well, he was in
Exeter, didn't he?
the when the oil business come in. The farmers got tractors. Well, he had the oil business distributed to farmers. That was his background. And of course, Sandy Elliott owned the farm dealership. And they each put in $13,000 each, the five of them. Equal
But you know,
partnership.
I don't think we really were interested in a cottage, and we still aren't really.
Well, no, but you look
As
at
an
it
investment, it
from
would
a,
have
look
been
at it as
great.
an investment viewpoint and that type of thing. And
Yeah.
well, we bought a brand new car at that time.
Right.
Paid for that. Now we're looking at I
Yeah.
don't know exact year we're looking at, but we're looking at 1954, 55, somewhere in that area. We hadn't bought the place. I hadn't bought a house at that time anyway, so it's got to be in that area. So,
And of course, we had, well, remember when you and I met, I had this 35 Ford, wasn't
35
it?
Ford, yeah.
And it was a lemon if you ever saw one. But it always got me home, and they always said a Ford always got you home. It didn't matter what trouble you had in the meantime, you got home. And it was the strangest car. Dad bought it from somebody around Blenheim who just had this car for sale, and he decided it'd be nice for me to have it. And I
Now
was
she had completed high school, completed normal school, and had her first school.
Right.
And she was going to stay at home and drive to school, which
yes.
was what? How far away?
Well, it would be, what are concessions, 2 1/4? 1 1/4. So it would be just a quarter of a mile down and across.
What is a mile and a quarter
Yeah.
across?
Yeah.
Is it on the corner there?
So it'd be about 2
mile and a
miles.
half to our
Yeah.
school, I guess.
Yeah.
Mile and 3/4 to school.
And when I'd go there in the spring, well, here would be the farmer's sheep out in the field, and there was a little black sheep who just molested every one that was resting. A mother would lie down, and she'd be sort of resting, and he'd come along and go ping onto her and off, and it was so fun, so much fun to drive by and see her there. So anyway, getting back to the car.
Our dad at that time was in the selling corn by the bushel for seed
the
corn
farmers,
to the
yeah.
farmers around.
He sort of got...
That was your dad, Mom?
My
Yeah.
dad,
Okay.
yeah. He'd gotten out of the farming, although he still
Well, he slowed
lived
up
on
at
the
that
farm.
time, yeah.
He was slowing up. And I guess he had the farm rented, didn't he? And,
Did he? Not then. I don't think he was
No.
doing himself.
no. And so he was selling corn and had used the colony house. Remember the one where I was struck by lightning? Yeah, and he was using it as his office and sort of storage for a while. Anyway, going
They'd
back
bring it
to
in
the
and
car.
then he'd just use that and ship them out, deliver them wherever people wanted to go.
In those days, the horn was in the middle of the steering rod.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, the car would be sitting outside all by itself, and all at once the horn would start to blow. Nobody was around. And the only way you could get it to stop was to pull it out. And it was about 2 feet long that you pulled out of the thing. And then just throw it in the back seat or something, because what were you going to do with it? Put it in when you wanted to start again. But that was the only way you could stop the car
See,
from
what it
blowing
was
its horn.
just a button on the top and a sharp rod down to a certain level that contacted 2 wires, but it was way down the shaft, not right at the top.
Oh, okay. So you just sort of pull the whole assembly out. And just,
Yeah.
This was your
Yeah.
35 Ford.
This was my 35 Ford,
Right.
yes. And it had, well, the first time I met your dad, we met at First St. Andrew's Church, and he'll tell that story because he
It's
he
no
really
story.
puts a slant on it that is unique. Anyway, I was to meet him at Elginfield.
Well, yeah.
He'd
well,
been to Exeter.
This was our first official date.
This was when we were just, we'd met at Young People's, and we would meet each Wednesday at Young People's at First St. Andrew's Church for the...
This is for St. Andrews, London.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that was in the fall of 1951.
One. Yes.
We were
I
each
didn't-
21 at that
I
time.
didn't know that you met at First St. Andrews.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'd only been in the city one day. I went in to teach on the Tuesday following Labor Day, and Wednesday night I had been in the young people's, you see, I'd been at the country school for 2 years, and I had been with the young peoples at Woodham, and because I was the president of the young peoples, then I got to go to the presbytery, Perth Presbytery, and then Perth Presbytery would meet with Middlesex Presbytery, and then there were more young people to meet there.
And all the counties.
I had met your dad's brother, or his brother Doug,
Yeah.
and
At a conference.
and yeah, and at many of the conferences because he too was attending.
They had the individual like presbytery was here in Perth, all the counties, but then there was the London conference, which took in the whole area.
Right through to Sault Ste. Marie, didn't it?
St. Marie, yeah.
And
Wow.
we would meet
Right down
and have
to,
these
Windsor.
hundreds of people there, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And have sing songs, and they weren't the songs you sang in church, although we had a few choice ones we would end up with. They were quite religious. We were quite serious about our religion.
But it was on the light side.
But we
Fun side.
had good, clean fun, and it really was very interesting. Excuse me. So anyway, I was to meet Murray at Elginfield, and he was coming from his home near Exeter, you see.
I hitchhiked down.
Yeah, and I was coming down. And we were going to go to a game,
University
Yeah.
Football game. University of Western
homecoming week, I guess it was, probably. Yeah. And
No, it was homecoming week, but it was in around the end of October, the 1st November, in that era.
but it was snowing, wasn't
It started to snow when we
Yeah.
left Elginfield.
And that car was in such bad shape that we didn't get out of the car, and yet we were covered with snow by the time we got to London.
Because there was a crack in the door, like it didn't jam, didn't go up and down, so the wind was blowing, it blew the snow right in. We were covered in the front seat.
And then, I mean, the floor, the road was wet, you know,
Right.
and we had wet feet. We hadn't gotten out of the car.
You probably done better in a buggy or something.
We'd have known where it was coming from.
We wouldn't have got there as quickly in a buggy.
No.
So we got down to the football game
Yeah.
and parked in the parking lot, walked in, and here everybody was sitting in the stands. And they'd gone through and swept snow off the seats. It was under your feet.
Mhm.
Snow all over, everywhere. They were playing in the snow.
Yeah. I don't remember the score. I don't remember,
I don't remember
even
the
who was
score either.
playing. Do you remember who
No,
was
I'd
playing?
have to go. I'd have to
Of course, I was a people person when I got there. I didn't know who was playing the game, but I know what everybody was wearing around me.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot about them. I had them all figured out and everything. So it was a lost cause to spend money on a ticket for a game for me. But anyway, going back to the car, that was one of its things. Well, then the windshield wipers in those days were only about 10 inches
Yeah.
long, and
They
were
hung from the top down.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
sort of
windshield.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it would go back and forth 2 or 3 times, and then it would flip up onto the front of the car, depending on the
Up on
wind,
the
you see.
rooftop.
So then if
They
you
wouldn't
want...
come down.
No. So
And
then
it
you-
wouldn't come down.
No. The wind would always put it up there, but it could never bring it back down. So then you'd have to open the door, try to keep driving, get your hand out and try to get it down again, and then you get a bit more, you know. And so that was one thing that was wrong with it. Well, then the other thing was that the passenger's seat, the hinges broke, I guess.
Well, in front, something
Of
happened
the
with
4
the
of them,
bolt.
2 still worked. wasn't
Yeah.
it? No, they didn't. It all worked.
Well,
Because one day somebody got out and the seat followed them right out onto the street. Or I'd be
Well, then after
driving.
that we got it fixed, but we only fixed the back one. Well, then every time she stepped on the gas, she went into the back.
Disappear. So I would just reach over and push down, and up would come my passenger.
Audrey Hartwell. Oh, every time she got in the car on this one. That
Oh.
was a subject. Of course, Audrey used to go to school with Ombre because he rode in the same car to go to school.
And
They boarded together.
The day we were applying we had our application in, and the day we had our interview in London to be hired, the 2 of us met. Well, I'd been in Form 1 because I was that far ahead in the alphabet. Copeland, you see. Well, she was Harlan, so she was in the second form. And we met and we became fast friends, and we even got on the same staff. So we then lived together.
Right.
So then I drove back and forth, you see, with this car. And I always said,
On weekends, she'd come in Monday, go home Friday.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So you used to drive in your 35 Ford for
Yeah.
Monday.
Hmm.
Where would you stay then? This little.
They had an apartment.
Oh, we got an
Oh, right.
apartment.
You shared with.
Yeah.
Okay, with Audrey.
Yeah.
Right.
Ashland Ave in London.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ashland Ave, yeah.
I know where that is.
Yep.
That's near McCormick's.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so anyway, one day, remember I was giving the principal a ride, and since he was getting out first, Fred Galpin, and I was one of the few who could get along with him. He was really quite a taskmaster, and a lot of people couldn't get along with him, but he and I seemed to get along all right. Anyway, I was giving him the ride, and I think he was the one who got out in the seat, followed him after. You know, not a good moment to have that happen, but anyway, he didn't ask for a ride anymore. And
No sense of adventure.
I have to tell you about him because here we were getting started at Prince Charles School, and it was under construction. And we all walked in the first day of school on the Tuesday in September, and we were using the construction company's telephone. The construction men were all around us. I had a room assigned to me for my grade 2s. I just started to read a story, and up pulled a gravel truck outside to dump gravel along so that the kids wouldn't have to walk in the mud. And
Right against the school, the foundations were hardly more pushed back in.
yeah.
And there was no carpet on the floor at all. It was just the concrete.
And
with
yet
desks on
it was
top.
heated through the floor, and we didn't have pencil sharpeners, you know, things. That was really it.
Now you said you came in. When did you first come into the city then?
Well,
It was, I think, August.
Of 51.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when you started at Prince Charles, because you said you.
but, yeah, getting ready
Okay.
for school the first day after Labor Day.
Okay, so you taught. You said you taught for one day, and then you went out and you picked up Dad, and you brought him in for the
that night.
the homecoming. Okay.
And the homecoming
that
was later
rough.
on in
That was
October.
about 2 months later after that first night. First day she went to school. Well,
Yeah, it was
Oh, okay.
October or November,
Right, okay,
you see,
okay.
when the snow was flying. Yeah.
Okay.
But once you get off on this car, you know, there's just so many things to tell about. Oh yes, and when I would be going in from Mom and Dad's farm at Woodham to for a Sunday night, if I wasn't picking your dad up.
That wasn't the first week. It was a couple of months later before we started that.
Yeah. Do you know I stopped more often for water in the radiator because it would be boiling than I did for gas? And then the hood of the car was
It's
on
one of
a
those
rod.
used to flip 2 buttons off and they flipped up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
so like
Fold
a,
the hinge down the center.
like a wing,
Yeah.
a gull
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
Came down,
They
yeah.
both up. Yeah.
They flipped them over on the other side, you see. Well, then there was a hinge at that end, a hinge at this end, the rod was through it. And of course they just worked off that. So then go on from there.
Well, anyway, I had taken it to Lloyd Jakes at Woodham to fix. There was something wrong with it, so he had fixed it. But he hadn't, unbeknownst to me, he had not fastened the hood on. It was just sitting there, and it looked fine.
So you used to pull them down and pull those
Yeah.
things up and
Right.
hook them on.
Right.
And oh yes, there was this funny family they were a very important family in Woodham. It was the Mills family. And there was Billy and Ray and Rhea and Blanche, and then they had Lonnie. Well, Billy was very comical, and so was Ray. And so whenever Billy saw me driving, he'd be running to get over onto somebody's lawn. So here I am driving down. I picked Mom up, and we're going to St. Mary's, and we're well along the baseline when we come to this culvert, and it always did give you a
See,
bit
culverts
of
were always raised higher than the roads, so but they wouldn't fill them in level. They'd go up like this over the culvert.
Right.
and you could get quite a lift off one
Yeah, I could
you went
imagine,
over,
yeah.
you know. So this time, I'm going along, and I got quite a lift, but not nearly as much as the hood of the car. It went up like that, sailing across
Well,
into
wait,
the
got it?
field.
I
And the farmer got off his tractor, came over and handed it to me to put back on again. And I remember the teacher at Woodham, I was trying to get her to St. Mary's for a weekend so she could go to her home in Thorndale, not too far away. You see, she'd take the train. Well, we missed.
To
Take-
Thorndale.
And then take the train down.
We
Thorndale.
missed the train because I had to stop and get water for the car. And, I had one or two other choice things happen with that car. Oh, yes. Dad had the business, the seed business, and came around to this spring. We weren't yet married, were we?
No, but I
Oh, yeah.
didn't even know you then, when you had to go to Listowel.
Okay, no, I guess not. So I took the teacher at Woodham, Yvonne Mills, and I, and away we went to pick up some of the unsold grass seed
Right.
up around Wigham, I think it was. No, I went to Listowel anyway. It was
No, but you
Listowel.
took it out of your dad's garage and delivered it to Listowel.
Oh, yes, I did, that's right, because I had
Filled
it
back in up
full.
with bags and grass seed and
Yeah.
all the rest of it all. Or with corn, and the two in the front seat.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no, I had a friend in the front seat.
Well, beside.
Yvonne.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mhm.
Yvonne and you
Yeah,
were
she
there.
was in the front seat with me. Well, we drove into Listowel and it was lunchtime. We still hadn't gotten rid of this stuff. And we couldn't find a place to park. And finally we did find one on Main Street, right opposite the restaurant,
Right
too.
off, no.
So as we parked, I said to Yvonne, you know, I think there's something on the side, on the pavement under the car. I wonder what it is. And she said, well, it looks like an E over here at the curb. And I said, well, it looks like a P or a B. But anyway, we couldn't figure it out. We went in and ate. And when we got back out, we figured out who it was. Here, right in behind me, was the police car, the local policeman.
Illegally parked.
I was illegally parked.
As a policeman.
Well, of course, you know, flight, we thought, well, we'll just get going, and he hasn't put a ticket on us or anything.
Right.
And we'll just start the car. The car would not start. One of the rods that held that radiator lit or top had come off, fallen down on the battery, and drained the battery. So while my friend Yvonne is looking at it and saying, oh, Ambra, it's hot, I've just burnt my finger on it, out comes the police chief. And he's loaded down with all sorts of hockey equipment and stuff because I guess they sponsored the
Right.
local team, you see. So he says, are you having trouble, ladies, to get the car started? And we said, yes, we are, really. And you know, he didn't say anything to us, he just pushed us out of town.
They come back in the car and give you a push out of town. Got to start away they went.
And was there something else that was so funny about that car? Anyway, I should have written a book, I think it would have
So
been.
Grandpa bought that for you when?
Once you started teaching school.
Yeah.
And you were
When I started
19 when you...
19.
Yeah, when you were
So
19.
that'd be 49.
So
That was
you...
35.
So how did that work then? You did elementary school, did you do secondary and then teacher's college, or how
Yeah,
did...
one
No,
year at teacher's college.
First.
Yeah. But you see, I had skipped a grade, so I was starting at 19.
When she went through public school, all right, let's back up. 1936, when I started school, there was only 7 grades.
Right.
When the next year, they put in an extra grade between, was it 3 and 4? Or 2 and 3? No.
3 and 4.
3 and 4, in between, like, so
Yeah.
they're going from 7. And we used to start school at Easter time and get
Yeah.
3 months.
But I didn't. I
Junior.
started in September.
Yeah, well, that was various school systems and what they did.
Yeah.
But anyway, then the province come down and says, okay, we're going to have 8 grades in public school. And that's when it started.
Elementary school.
or
Yeah, elementary.
school.
We
you
always
see.
called it public because we had
Yeah.
no.
Right.
And
Yeah.
well, my brother Doug, he got through it
Right.
before they started. So when I come along, they stuck the extra one in between.
Right.
Well, Amber went through the same way as Doug did. He only took the 7
Right.
because they didn't put it in quite the same time. So Amber went through in 7 years, and I went 8.
But then tell what we did in our grade 8 year.
Mhm.
Because we were on the farm, we were given the chance to help. You see, the war was
Farm during the
on,
war on.
and we
Right.
were given the chance to get out if our marks were high enough at
To
the
work on the
spring,
farm.
at Easter, didn't we?
Mhm.
And we didn't have to do the last 3 months of school.
Cool. So I was out of school the 28th of March.
Yeah,
In
My
grade 8.
Grade
in
8.
grade 8.
Okay, so you would have been 13 ish.
That was the year.
Or 14.
Um,
That would have been
well,
43,
yeah, 14.
44?
14. I just turned 14.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then so, but then you went to teachers college, Mom? At age 14 then?
No, high school.
Oh, then you went to high school.
That
She
was-
went
Okay.
through. She got her 13. So 6 and 13 made her.
Now you see,
Okay.
with my getting out early that time, my brother had been born in January, and Mother had helped until I got out of school, and then I was the help. And of course, we had no electricity in the house. Our house had no electricity. It had stopped at the house closest, or next to, on the Woodham side.
Right.
The line had come down to the farmer there, and not everybody had hooked in, but we had to pay for it to come to our gate,
Right.
and that was, I think I was 18. So I was in high school with just the coal oil lamp, and now we had a good furnace in the house,
Wood furnace.
but it was wood and coal.
Mhm.
Yeah, we never had oil while I was there, although Dad did get oil later on. But I didn't have hydro when I was in.
And you too, Dad? When did you get hydro?
1940. 41, 42.
But it was farther along. The
Yeah, well,
road.
don't
Well,
forget
you
our
were
road.
probably
You see, it
four,
used to have the lines coming up number 4 highway going to Exeter.
Yeah.
So it always ran by our
Mhm.
place, but
Yeah.
you couldn't afford to put it in.
How much did it cost to put it in?
Well, now those are the figures I could never tell
Well, I
you.
remember ours. Remember, it was $128
That's a lot.
in those days. Yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
lot of
And
money.
when I was-
That
when-
was a lot of money.
But see, it did
right?
the house. It did the house and the barn, but we didn't have much in the house as far as electricity.
Oh, and you just had well, I
You had
guess.
you had a one maybe. He didn't have a light in the living room, and he had one on the wall just over the kind of kitchen cupboard where Mom used to work, and then there was one in the dining room, and there's one going upstairs, and one in the hall, and 2 bedrooms. That was it,
Right.
and all there were was bulbs.
Right.
No, nothing else.
Yeah. And then you didn't have it in the barn until you were able to pay for it to come that much farther. Like from the
Oh,
house
okay,
to
from
the
the house
barn
to the
was your
barn.
expense.
So
And
what
from
we
the
did-
road to the house was our expense, as well as from the neighbor
To the
to our gate.
Supposed to bring it down.
Mhm.
In our case, they did the barn at the same time.
Okay.
They put the pole in
Yeah.
between the house and barn strung it. We had 5 wires to the first pole and 6 going to the barn.
But we never had a milking machine in our farm. I used to help milk. I milked by hand. But I never was required to do a lot of farm work. Dad wouldn't require me, but he would get me trying to drive the horses for the hay when he was stacking the hay in the
Yeah.
back,
Right.
you know. And of course, I always had this awful time to turn the corner
Yeah.
and get going down, and he would get so cross, and I used to think, oh, why wasn't I a boy? I'd like to get it faster if I were a boy.
See, the wagon, you used to rake it into a roll, and then the wagon went down both sides of it, and he loaded it at the back, picked it up, and put it on the wagon.
Right.
Then you built one bundle at the back, and then you pushed it down the second one to build it, then the third one at the back, and the fourth one at the front. Basically, that's how they were made. And of course, you had the guy at the back forking to the guy at the front. Then,
Well, Dad was the only one forking
yeah,
ours.
at that time, because you had a tractor. You had
No,
tractor,
no, I
You-
was driving
okay,
horses.
we had the horses. So
Yeah.
we get the, and at that time, you see, you were 11 years old, 12 years old, well, even younger than that, 9, standing up on the, like these racks at the end
Yeah.
to hold the hay was in. Well, you'd stand maybe about 2 bars from the top. So you leaned over and you had the horses driving. So then when you get down at the end, okay, you had to make a turn.
Right.
But this is a long thing. Because you had the horses,
Like
the
a
wagon,
transport side.
and the thing behind.
Right.
So you had to get this thing lined up in such a way that the horses would turn and get around and get back on the roll. And just as the hay loader at the back came down around like this.
Right.
And of course, what you do if you got too far, well, then you go around, you'd miss it. Well, then you got hell.
And then we'd get to the barn, when we had these 4 bundles on, you see. We'd get to the barn, and then it was a matter of, the horses would get a run at the gangway.
Right.
Yeah.
To
They'd
get
go
it up,
into the hayloft.
get all the way in, and then they'd pull down a pulley and that with a hook on it,
Mhm.
and then bring up the 4
Ropes.
ropes that
See,
were laid in there, but now you got hold of them, pulled them up, and that would be your
And you
top
hooked them.
bundle.
Hooked the 4 ends together.
Yeah.
And then they were on a rope that came down, went like this up, and then across, and down.
Yeah.
Well, they were down at the bottom, so then you pull down the gangway, this would take it up, would trip it when it hit the top, lock in, and then go in and dump. And when it get into the hay mow, well, you just pull the lever and dump, and it's dumped. And that's how it got.
But to get it up there, you had another horse on the gangway.
Right.
And this was a quiet, gentle horse, usually an aging horse. Ours was called. No, our horses were Belle and Jess. Belle was a white Clyde, and Jess was a chestnut white,
Right.
slightly larger. And I guess Old Prince, the black one, seemed to be sort of a small horse, but not a running horse or anything. What would you call him? You know,
Oh,
what did
Percheron?
you call? No, I don't think he
Clydesdale,
was
was
a
it white
Percheron.
feet?
No, he didn't. He was all dark. Anyway, he was the one I had to drive down the gangway. Well, I had a hard time doing that too. And you know, Dad would be yelling and I wouldn't be stopping at the right time or something like that. Anyway, we would get the hay in. But Dad did have a tractor. He had an old Fordson.
Fordson, yeah.
What year were they?
Oh gosh, I don't know, back in the 30s.
And we had a 32 Ford, I think it was. No, we had a Model T, and then I learned to drive on a Model A. And I remember when Dad took me out onto the road, baseline, and I'm driving along, and doing pretty well, I thought. And Dad said to me, well, you can go a little faster. And I said, do you think so? And he said, well, yeah, the dog is passing us right now. And so, let's see, what else was there about the... Oh, yeah, and then, of course, when it came time to bring the... Oh, it was really dangerous around the farm when they were doing the cutting of the hay because they had this long...
Well, they had,
it was a mower,
Yeah.
and the knife would
long.
come up at the side, you know.
6-foot knife out the side. And you could you could move it, you flipped it up. Pulled down
Yeah,
the
I
lever,
remember.
and-
Yeah, it's like the one Grandpa used to have,
Yeah.
right?
right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And the dangerous part of it was, I remember one of our relatives in the Switzer clan, Maxine Dope, she was, and I guess she went out to talk to her dad and didn't realize that she was in the path of, and she was just short.
Oh shit.
And yeah, but her leg just got nicked badly so that it never did grow the same length.
Right.
Nowadays the Shriners would fix that.
Right.
We didn't know about Shriners then, although I guess they were in operation.
Yeah, they were in operation.
But they didn't have that at that time, and so she wore a high. But oh, you know, it was so dangerous. You had to, and then sometimes the dog would get out
Oh,
and get,
jeez.
you know,
Yeah.
you know. And then it was the same thing when it came time to bring in
Grain.
oats and the grain and the wheat.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Dad ever grew barley. And,
Well, yeah, but they'll be handled the same
but
way.
it all had to be cut, you see, around the
in
field,
stooks.
around and around, and it would turn it out in stooks.
Mhm.
And they would go out lying down. Well, then, of course, the farmer came along and had to stand them up in maybe a group of 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
No, we used to
And,
do, we used to do 7 or 8. One in the middle and 7 around.
Did you?
Stoop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
See, I
reason
never
was,
had to
you
do
had to get
that.
the seed. If it rained, you have to get the heads off the ground, otherwise they'd start to grow.
They grow, right.
So it was drying out in that area, so that's why it was done.
And so then we had to go through the same thing with them, only they would, that's when they had 2 men, one on the wagon,
Loading.
building it, all these things, these
Sheaves.
slippery things, and another man throwing them up from the field.
Oh,
Pick it
okay.
up.
We go along from
Stoop to
stoop
stoop.
to stoop, you see,
Right.
and then I had to drive up the middle. And that was never easy either.
Yeah, well, the thing, you drive down this road, pick it up, then go around another road and come back and pick the next road.
Right. So you
And then
didn't.
head it to the barn, and of course they're all on the slings as they were before, and you swung them across into
Yeah.
the bow.
Down the gangway with the horse again.
Would you go to a threshing machine with that?
Well, then
though?
the scratch machine would come around and go in the barn, and fork it into the machine, you see.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
And then that was when all the women got together and fed all the neighbors. All the neighbors would come to your thrashing to help.
They go from neighbor
And
to
you would
neighbor
go
neighbor.
to all the neighbors
Oh,
to
okay.
help the immediate neighbors.
Now, is it a thrashing machine or a threshing machine?
Threshing,
With an E.
E-S-H, yeah,
Okay.
threshing.
I always thought it
There
was
was-
I
Most
didn't
of them
know that
call
at the time. I think we're
Most
all
of them
called,
called it with an A,
yeah,
thrash.
as if it was an A, but it really was a threshing.
it was threshing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just kind
And
of curious.
yeah, and so the women would bake these wonderful pies,
Oh,
and
okay.
they'd have great roasts of beef and cabbage salad,
Oh yeah, there'd
and
be 12, 14 men sitting down to a table.
and they'd have white linen tablecloths because we didn't have a lot of tablecloths. We had these white linen, so they were used for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
So, but you gather the stooks yourself as
Grain.
a family,
oh yeah,
bring it all into the barn,
You
and
did
then
your own.
and then somebody who would own the threshing machine.
Oh,
one
farmer
of the
used-
neighbors would go
Oh,
out on
okay.
a limb and buy it, and
And they go from door to door, pay for it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you'd pay him for his services or
Yeah.
for the
Now,
machine,
the first ones were run by steam engines.
right?
They'd
Yeah.
throw all the wood or coal in to do it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Like a steam engine on the railroad.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever had, I don't think it was that early when we started.
Well, we had the one that, when I was a kid,
That I
they were
remember.
threshing, yeah. Fellow
Yeah.
by the name of Cliff.
Oh, it was Dave Spence.
Cliff Hill had, he came from near Crediton.
Right.
Imagine,
That's all
from
he
near
did all summer.
Crediton to where your dad was.
Good heavens.
Yeah.
And you just dragged this thing along. Was it horse drawn?
No,
No,
the
it-
steam engine would. Now, if you go back far enough, in the 20s, the steam engine was pulled by horses because it didn't have its own transmission.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But by
Okay.
this time, they had the transmission, you see, so
So
you
he
could
just-
go. But you could walk as fast as the thing going down the road.
And there was no such thing as a rubber tire.
No, it was
Nothing
all
had
steel
rubber
tires.
tires except cars.
Yeah.
And oh, they grit and grind over to the stones on the road, the stones wherever, you know. And then my dad decided that he and his brother, Uncle Merv, would buy our own. And so we just did our own, the two
Threshing
farmers.
machine.
Yeah.
Now, what they do was the width of the feeder.
Uh-huh.
These professional men would have a 42-inch feeder, in other words,
Right.
wide.
Yeah.
And the smaller ones would have like one sheaf at a time, 24 inches.
Right.
So of course it was different in the cost, you see.
Yeah.
And there's always argument going, well, do you need 36 inches? No, it's a waste of money. But the 36-inch one, you put one sheaf here and the other one halfway set
Right.
as they're going in.
Right.
And then take 2 rows at a time. Where a narrow one would just take one row
Take
at a
one.
time.
Right.
So you could, take half the time type thing, which is fine. But that's basically how they operate. So,
So Dad bought a narrow one. Then.
Yeah, Dad was a good manager and a really forward-looking man.
He seemed to be kind of the first one with all of this stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
yes.
always was.
he-
Model A, Model T. He had you in a car.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. To think he had his daughter driving the car,
Was that unusual?
at 60, and that
I
time,
think possibly it would be.
Most
Yeah.
of the women weren't, like Mom and them went on, and ladies weren't driving cars at all at that time.
Well, I know, Grandma. What about Kay? When did Kay learn to drive?
Well, it's when she came of age.
When she was 16.
But when you go back and look at, say, like Mom, she was born in '02. She was 16 in 1918, and the cars at that time were, not much of a car.
No, and they were pretty expensive.
They were pretty expensive type thing. They bought our car here. Well, Grandpa bought a Graham Page. That was the first one. I think it was 1926. I think when he bought that one,
Uh-huh.
first one he had, and Dad drove it.
Right.
He never did learn to drive the car, my grandfather, even though he had them. And he moved to Exeter. When Dad bought the farm in '26, he moved to Exeter, '27 I think it was. And he had no car to get back and forth, so he walked. He'd walk from Exeter down the farm and back to help Dad out. And of course, Dad, unfortunately, he came down with, 1 year after married, with erysipelas, which is very, very, well, it killed a lot of people. Like,
It weakened him terribly,
it
didn't
weakened
it?
him terribly.
He'd lost a year of production as far as a
he
farmer
couldn't do
went.
anything as a farmer at all.
No.
Grandpa did.
My father.
Headley.
Headley.
Headley. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this was 1926.
So it'd be 27. when
Okay,
came
so he
down.
bought. When did he get married?
26.
He got married in 26. Bought the farm from
Well,
his
he-
father.
Yeah. And his father moved to town and built a new house.
Right.
All right, so they moved out. My mom moved down to house.
So Grandpa was like 26 then, wasn't he? Because he was born in 1900.
No,
No, he was 1896, wasn't he?
1896, you see.
Right. So he was 32 at that point.
Well, when he had erysipelas, he was
No, 30.
about 31.
31.
He came
I've
down
never
with
even
him.
heard of that.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Some
No.
sort of an autoimmune disease,
No,
or
something to do with your chest.
like
I've never
tuberculosis?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never even heard of it since, but it
Yeah,
sure laid
one-
him
oh, yeah,
down.
laid him out. And
Oh.
so Grandpa had to come down and run the farm for a whole year. So he walked every day down and back. In a
How old
place-
was Grandpa at that point?
Well, Grandpa was born in 1860, so you figure him out.
Like 46.
Well,
No,
he-
excuse me, 66.
Or 66, yeah.
Walked
Yeah.
down, worked, spent a whole day, and then walked back.
Yeah, back.
Now you should tell about how the minister used to live at your house. But
Well,
they had traveling ministers. Now I don't remember
No,
what
but
of
they're
that.
going back a lot further than this to see what they used to call them, saddleback ministers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for an example, when my grandfather came over in 1832, he had a boy and a girl. The girl was born in, 26? And the boy was born in 28? Or is it 24
No,
and
that's your
28?
great-grandfather. You
My
said your-
great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, that was William.
Great.
William.
William, when he came over with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay, and then they had the two children before they came.
Right.
So, anyway, when my grandfather grew up, of course he was lived at Exeter.
And your grandfather was Thomas, right?
Thomas,
Thomas
great grandfather. was Thomas.
Great friend, grandfather.
Good
was
name.
Thomas May.
And
Yes.
when he got married, well, there happened to be all right. What would happen is that the ministers would come from London up through, and they'd be traveling up through to Owen Sound or wherever they went. And as they went through, they did all the marriages and the deaths and all this type of thing. But there could be periods in which these guys never got through for 4 months or 6 months. In other words, you'd have, let's say you had someone die.
Yeah.
All right, they were buried, but they never had a
No
service.
funeral.
A funeral service, that thing is. So they'd come through, but in these cases, they would stop at the May household in the front room, which used to be where the living room was where they used to sleep. They'd sleep in that front room.
Where the piano used to be.
Yeah.
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 Now, of course, that was the living room after the fire had taken place, which is
That
another
used to be a
story.
bedroom before. Where the
Where was the
kitchen
bedroom?
table, the dining room table was, that and where the cupboards was the living room. Before. Living and dining room. And then the other one off to the north where the piano was the bedroom.
So that used to be a bedroom there, okay, which made sense. And where
Yeah.
was the living room then?
Well, the
Kitchen.
the bedroom was the northwest corner. The living room,
Northwest corner. You mean where the mudroom, sort of the old back kitchen?
That was also
No,
a
no.
bedroom.
no, on the front. You look at the front of the house facing the road, facing west. Front
Right,
door was
okay, the
here.
north, yeah.
Northwest was right there. That's where Grandma had her piano.
That's right. That's
That
yeah.
used to be a bedroom.
Okay.
Well, then right behind it was the other room where we used to have them going in through.
On the east corner.
So
Yeah.
the northeast corner, that was bedroom.
That was a bedroom as well.
Well,
Okay.
that was a bedroom off the kitchen, not off the rest of the house.
Okay.
Well, then on the north, or the
South.
southeast corner was the dining room,
That's where the kitchen is now, or
where,
was.
where the table used to be. And then the kitchen was on the southwest east corner. And the
Oh, yeah,
southwest
both-
corner,
Oh, the southwest. What was in the southwest was ended up being the dining room.
yeah, well, always was the dining
That
room.
was always the dining room.
Yeah.
And the
With
southeast
the
was
arch.
the kitchen. Yeah.
Well, no, it was the living room, because that's where the fireplace was.
Yeah, remember that fireplace?
Oh yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
yes.
then, all right, that's what we have now. But then at the back of the house, attached to this,
Right.
was on the like there's a bedroom, the
Driveway side?
northeast bedroom
Yeah.
came off the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, the kitchen was a square at the back.
Oh,
was-
okay. So the kitchen was the part that ran out the back. That was
Yeah.
the
Right at the back. You used to
And
see the
that-
bricks where they were. They'd
Yeah,
sit.
yeah.
All right. Well, that was kitchen. And then all right, that end, and it was a very large bit of room. Well, then behind that was a summer kitchen.
Right.
Then behind that was a woodshed, and behind that again was the toilet, way at the back.
The privy.
Where they are now, or was that another privy?
No,
no.
that was the one that was there.
Not the
Because
one
it
out
was
the way.
brick.
It used to be brick. Oh
Yeah.
no, there used to be one at the back of the house.
Oh, okay.
You see, you seen
Yeah.
that picture with the bell on the belfry?
Yeah.
Well, that was really on the summer kitchen.
Okay.
Well, then there was a room next to it. It was an inside. We used to store wood in it.
Right.
You'd store a whole year's supply of wood in there to heat the house. You know, you go out there and get your
Yeah.
wood for your furnace, get your
Right.
wood for your fire stove.
Yeah.
And that's where that woodshed come in, and then you had to go through that
Yeah.
and around the corner, and that's where the toilet was outside.
And that was
But
the
it
pit-
wasn't the brick one that
No,
went
no, 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 it was a
Oh.
wood one.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a wooden one. Okay.
When was the brick one built?
Oh, it was brick, it was at that time. I think the brick one was built the same time as the house was built.
Okay.
Oh, it was an extra one you had
We had
there.
two. One, you see,
Oh.
and you never had to go outside.
Right. Well,
Yes.
that was the whole point.
And then there was the
You had
one
to
that
just throw
was
an extra
outside.
sweater or coat on, go to the
Right.
toilet, and then come back in again. You
Right.
didn't have
And
to go
grab your
through-
Eaton's catalog along the way.
Yes, exactly.
And that was your toilet tissue.
Yeah.
Simpsons too, I
Yeah, and
guess.
then you had to go, every spring you opened up the back outside and got the shovels in, took it out and spread it on the
Spread it on the
fields.
fields.
Fertilize the field.
Fertilize the
Right.
fields.
The night soil. Okay.
So that's.
So what happened? How did it burn? What?
All right, it burned, on December 7th, 1940.
39, was it?
41?
No, 41 was Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
December
you're right, I think it
7th,
was 39, it was 39.
I think it was
Okay.
39.
Okay, it was dark.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, Dad had chickens, and they wanted to get these chickens. They're a special type of chickens for breeding purposes. And they used to go out and hang Coleman lanterns, early, like so they had a longer day
Yeah.
of daylight,
Yeah.
and they put one in each one of their colony or the hen house there, and they're hung. Well, this night he'd gone to the out to the back and in here, and he had stored gasoline in here.
To the woodshed?
To the wood, like not to the woodshed, through the woodshed,
Okay.
and out the
toilet
back,
side.
out the back.
Yeah.
And he had stored a 45-gallon barrel in there of gasoline, so that they would drain that off and put it into a gas can.
Was
and
it
then
gas or coal?
No,
Coal
no,
oil.
it was gasoline because it was under pressure. And so he filled it up, and then, but he filled it too full. Well, what you would do is he'd fill it up, and then you would go in, take the back off the Coleman light and pour gasoline down a long, like a funnel affair, can.
Right, right.
Pour it in there, once full, that was it, and then you let it, and away it went. But this night he was taking the gasoline out. It was in, I'd say around 5:30 at night in December. But at that time it was dark.
Yeah.
But he set the Coleman lantern here. And what happened was the gas was coming out of here. It overflowed and hit the
Hit the Coleman.
Coleman. And the whole thing was going. And he was there and I was there. We were only the two of us.
Right.
And he fired this thing outside, out into the snowbank. Because snow was there. But by this time, this other thing had caught fire. Well, and that's outside. So they phoned the fire department in Exeter. And by this time, of course, the whole back end's going up because it was just a lean-to type, frame type, and then the bathroom, the toilet went up in smoke. And then, but there was this door into the where they stored the wood.
Wood, yeah.
Well, it got through there, and of course it got into their
Into
burner.
the wood. Oh god,
the
tons
wood.
and tons of fuel there. So it was December, so you had a
Yeah.
whole winter's worth of
So
wood.
then now we're into the summer kitchen, and moved into summer kitchen area. And then, then it started through the kitchen to what you recognize the front wall. And when the fire department got there, figured out what was going on,
Yeah.
they split the back part off the front, the wood,
And saved
and saved the front part.
Okay, they basically made the
But
decision.
if they'd have known better that they were brick walls, they could have stopped it back here before it got that far. Because there was a brick wall between every section. They could have stopped it back. In other words, here's where it started. It went through the coal shed, the woodwork,
Right.
but they could have stopped it right there.
At the summer kitchen.
At the end of the summer kitchen in the coal shed. You could have stopped it there if they had known that that was a brick wall.
Oh, okay.
Because then they just split the wood roof off, keep the fire, the wood down, and got
Right.
away from it. But no, it got up this far. That's basically what happened.
Now tell about all that your mum lost in the way of seeds because of the fire in the kitchen, and there was a
Well,
walk space.
Just a minute, hold on. We've gone through our first tape.